Now it's time to actually cut a plan through our building for the first part of Project 3. There's several things we need to do first, and you remember some of these from the demonstration on Tuesday that I kind of messed up big time. But one of the things that threw me off is that when we're transferring things back from Revit to Rhino, there seems to be a scale discrepancy. And so for whatever reason, even if we're really careful in setting up units one way or the other, this thing is 12 times the size it needs to be. Literally, it's 12 times the size it needs to be. So for whatever reason, it's sort of feet-inch conversions are a little messed up when taking things out as DWGs from Revit and bringing them into Rhino. So let's quickly, first step, rescale this. It's really simple to actually do that. I'm going to type in the command scale in the command line here, scale. I'm going to select everything, right click when I'm done. And then for a base point, I'm just going to type in 0, 0, 0, the home 0, 0, 0 point here in our Cartesian coordinate grid. And then it asks for a scale factor. And all I'm going to do is type in 1/12. So the fraction, 1/12. So what we're going to do is we're going to just shrink this down to 1/12 size. And voila. Now, everything should add up normal. I'm going to go ahead and save. And that's how we're going to scale things back. So for whatever reason, that's what we had to do this time. Okay. So now everything that's supposed to be 40 feet is now 40 feet instead of 480 feet. And it was just crazy before. Everything was off by a factor of 12. Now it should be true scale in feet. Okay. So after we scaled, another thing I'm going to do is right now our model is just floating in air. And so I'm going to give it a ground base. I'm just going to type in the command plane. Okay, to make a planar surface. I'm going to zoom out in the top view. I'm just going to come out here and draw a nice planar surface, make it nice and large. So it looks like our model is sitting on a piece of ground now. It looks like a tabletop actually, but this will be interesting and important for our drawings later on. We need a ground plane. Okay. Last but not least, I want to make some floor information, some more plan information on here. And so what we're going to do, remember we modeled or composed all of these elements within a hypothetical 60 foot by 60 foot by 60 foot cube. And so I want to draw, let's say, the footprint of that cube, 60 feet by 60 feet. And I want to position it relative to my folly here, my construct. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw that out to the side very precisely. I'm going to go ahead and draw a polyline. I'm going to say 60 feet, 60 with the foot tick mark, and 60 feet. I'm just going to make a 60 foot by 60 foot square. Close that up. And I'm going to go ahead and explode this. This is what I was trying to do in that messed up demonstration. So I'm just going to quickly redo this. So obviously this is all flat over here on the XY plane, which is nice. And I'm not going to accidentally snap to anything way up here and accidentally screw something up. So I'm working more carefully, keeping things planar, and more importantly in the right Z level that I want to. Okay, so should be flush with the ground level. Now that I've exploded this, right? You can type in explode and then explode this into 4 different segments. I'm just going to do a copy command. So type in copy and select this. And it's going to say copy, point to move from, and I'm going to say this way. I'm going to say point to move to. I'm just going to type in 1 foot. Okay, and I'm going to do that. Now, once I do that, it's going to ask me, do I want to make more copies? And if so, from the last point used, from the last distance used, and in the last direction, I'm going to say yes for all of those. Now I can just click and just keep clicking and copying. It's just going to go in the same direction, the same distance from the last point, the last copy point. I'm just going to make 60 of these. Don't worry, it's going to look kind of dense, but at first, but we're going to put these on their own layer, and they're going to be really nice and light. Okay. We'll lighten these up and make them really thin hairline, maybe even make them gray instead of black. But we just want some more information on the ground. It's really important. As if this was a patio, pavers, or tile, or something like that. Okay. I'm going to do the same thing now here, 1 foot. Click. Now that I've copied it once, I'm going to say yes, yes, and yes. And I'm just going to copy it all the way down. 10 minutes until studio time, so I'm going to try to hurry this up. just slip through here. Come on. Click, click, click. Sorry it takes so long. Dun, 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 dun. But it beats the heck out of like getting out the drafting table and trying to do this all by hand, right? That take even longer. Now, last but not least, I'm going to pull these over. I'm going to turn off my ortho and my object snap for a minute. I just want to move this in position, right? It might be flush and it might not be flush, right? I might actually put things a little off center. Particularly if I'm not going to get everything perfect, then maybe I make everything perfectly imperfect. Right, so maybe I have a couple of offsets. Okay. Now you'll see here that there's also this grid that Rhino puts down on my top view, right? It's kind of annoying because it's really noisy here. If you want to get rid of that, I'm just going to go to Tools, pull down to the Options, go to Grid, turn off those grid guides. There we go. Okay, so now you can see just the grid that we drew. Okay, let's go to the ortho view. Yeah, you can see them three-dimensionally here. That's going to look really great. All right, I'm going to save. And now it's time to do clipping plane. So I'm going to zoom out here, and in top view, I'm going to say type in clipping plane. And I'm going to draw the clipping plane in top view. This is going to be a plan view, so we're going to draw a horizontal clipping plane, and we're going to be looking down. Okay. And I've selected the clipping plane. I've moved it up a little bit, but look at this, right? I go to my properties, my clipping plane properties, and it's only reflected in the top view. I also want to maybe turn on perspective so I can see a little easier what's actually happening here and where I'm cutting this. All right, so there we go. So if I cut it here, yeah, that's pretty interesting. I kind of like that. I could always lower it down to here if I needed to. Right. So on and so forth. For our purposes, like I mentioned in the lecture and the demonstration, you know, I'm going to pick at one height and just do one plan. Typically, we would put these at 4 feet above each finished floor or ground. But for the purposes of this exercise, I just want to cut a plan, and then we'll talk about the conventions of using line weights and poche and things like that. Okay. So now that I have that, I'm just about done. I'm going to go to top view here. I'm going to select everything. I'm going to say make 2D. Okay, very important. I want to make sure that I'm taking a make 2D from the top. Tangent lines are on. Viewport rectangles on. I'm not going to turn on hidden lines. I have those off. Really important, you want to make sure that this option, clipping plane intersections, is available to you and it's turned on, right? So it's on, it's clicked, has a check mark next to it. I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. What that means is that everything that, you can see it here highlighted in black, right? Everything that's being cut and intersected with that clipping plane is going to be on its own layer, which is important because in plan we beef up those areas to really show where the plan actually is, you know, what's actually being cut in plan, so where walls are.